plus C.
E's at a very
E's a
actually wait, E's at a
and then the second parentheses would be 2.
Okay, so number 3 and 2 are solved. Number 1, waiting for number 1.
I don't know the bottom one.
Using calculator? I think. No, yeah, waiting for number 1.
Yeah.
The bottom of number 1.
Like a decimal answer.
So you have the bottom of number 1?
Yeah.
Okay.
4E plus T. And that's in parentheses. And then in the second parentheses, another parentheses, 2E plus T. Hopefully that works. Someone check that.
I just checked that you're
So then we have 8e squared,
On the top, 8e squared.
4et, t, 2et squared, and then t squared.
Okay, so the top
Is
of
that
number
what-
1.
Wait, where's the 3 in that though? I mean, like, where's 6et? Oh, because you're adding the 2. Okay.
Is that Dave?
Yeah.
The top has 5e plus 9t as one of the factors, and yeah.
And what was
Plus
that?
T is the
3
other
plus T?
Alright.
3 minutes. So that is a third of the time.
Yeah, because it's like,
You usually calculate this.
Alright, so here are the answers.
No,
plus 2et, still 6et.
You didn't simplify, you know.
Why is it?
Okay, so you got one pretty much right.
Yeah, I can do that in my sleep. The other ones are very difficult.
Yeah, these ones are a
Wait,
bit
this is
long.
what I have actually.
The first one's hard.
Okay, so that's one person has her
The
answer
first
there.
one, well, no.
The first one has
Is that any?
Yeah, the first one is in.
Oh, maybe I copied.
Actually, you know what? That's still there.
Go to the last one.
Is that still the right answer?
It's the same exact
Yeah.
thing.
Oh, I copy pasted that one. Sorry, guys. Copy paste there. Copy
Yeah, I
paste
think you're
there.
right in the first. No, in the first.
Okay, so the first one, I'll just give you the first one. I'm pretty sure you guys got that one right. And you got the third one right for sure. The second one might have some issues, but I think you guys get the point. When you distribute it and you don't have to take time to get into bureaucracy and select a leader and then like filter everything through one person, it winds up being much faster. And as we've noted, I mean, some people got them right, other people's got them wrong in the distributed model. So there's graceful degradation there in that you don't have to worry about everybody feeling the harmful effects of one person's bad actions. Please hold raise of hand questions until the end. If you would like to ask a question right now, either text me or tweet me. Alright, so some problems with totally free markets. Graceful degradation is still degradation. So if one person gets the math problem wrong and another person gets it right, you might say on a macro level, okay, that's great. On a micro level, the person who got it wrong, now they're foreclosed on their mortgage and their life's a shithole and they're sleeping on a park bench, which sucks. Differences in comparative bargaining power will give centrally planned subsets within the market an unfair advantage. How many of you have ever bought an appliance, or a car, or really anything where you have to sign a contract that has a carbon copy on the back of it? How many of you actually got to negotiate those contracts? Unfair bargaining power. You have a corporation which has formed contracts that they just offer to everyone. They do so much volume in business that you don't get to negotiate. So that's a real problem with free markets. So, a possible alternative is central planning. Pros: information reliability. Aligned interests between representative planners and citizens. And the most important and compelling reason is that no one will be left behind. So, by putting the smartest people in charge, we will maximize productivity, efficiency, and make sure that we're living a good and virtuous life. Because people are largely self-interested, they'll elect planners who will take care of their interests. The aggregate effect of that is that we have good planners planning for good things for society as a whole. Third, no one will be left behind in a centrally planned economy. Everyone will have a minimum level of safety so that if somebody makes a bad decision, the state or the central planners can step in, give them a welfare check so that they're not sleeping on a park bench for having made a bad decision in their past. I will argue that these are all very good, virtuous, lofty goals. Maybe not realizable, as we're about to see, but I see no problem with wanting all of these things. I see no problem with saying that everybody should be able to eat, we should have no hunger, no poverty, when we have this many capital resources. Some cons. Well, even experts can be wrong. We have a lot of very smart people in this room who are very good at advanced mathematics, and we have people like me who can't do math with a damn, as we just noticed. But even experts can be wrong sometimes. So if you have... I gotta watch that phone twice in an hour. But even experts can be wrong. So occasionally, Ben Bernanke saying up in the Fed can say, let's throw $13 trillion into the economy. And that might, just saying, might have been a bad decision. Hey. There are also public choice problems. James Buchanan, how many of you know about public choice theory? Just quick raise of hands. Okay. Public choice theory, just a quick synopsis. James Buchanan won a Nobel Prize for a paper he wrote on public choice theory. The idea is that politicians don't actually make choices out of the best interests of their constituents. Big surprise. They make decisions out of the best interests of the people making large campaign contributions to their campaigns. Again, this isn't a big surprise, but it's an important concept in economics because the central planners, namely John Maynard Keynes, people like Paul Krugman and their ilk, are going to say, well, we have a representative democracy, so theoretically, people's interests should be aligned with those of their representatives. James Buchanan steps in and says, not really, guys, sorry. Finally, information problems inevitably lead to people falling through the cracks. We've seen this a lot. If you take a walk through Center City any day, you'll see a lot of people begging. The fact is we do have a lot of great social programs in Philadelphia. Well, what makes those people homeless and impoverished? That's kind of the million-dollar question. We don't know, and that's an information problem. And that's a problem that the central planners, even the most intelligent central planners, have not been able to solve. So, the pragmatic solution. Best possible alternative. Minimally regulated market with legal institutions available for private recourse. An excellent example of this is products liability. If you go out, buy a Ford Pinto, Ford sends out this car knowing that there's a gas tank in the rear where the children are going to be put, which is, allegedly, but they put out this car and they know it's dangerous. If you get into an accident, you can sue Ford for putting out a product and mislabeling it, not telling you about the problems. And I think that this is a good way to deal with the problem of products liability and to deal with faulty products in general and bad contracts in general. If you go into a contract and you aren't given all the information, that's not really a meeting of the minds. That's somebody withholding information from you in order to get better bargaining power, which is unethical. That's not what a free market is about. That's not what good economics is about. That's not what good deal making is about. So I think that you need to have a minimally regulated market with legal institutions available so that you can sue the hell out of that person. And so that I get paid.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug.
Egoist.
Cultural changes must occur incentivizing private charity. I think that this is one thing that libertarians do not talk about nearly enough. The fundamental foundation of libertarianism needs to be private giving. Because we have a reputation for being egoists, for going out there and saying, oh, well, it's about the money, it's about the economics and maximizing utility and all of this. And the central planners are going to say, but what about the poor children? Well, what about the poor children? What's the government doing for poor children? Not very much. A story just came out today. An 8-year-old boy was shot with pepper spray for disobeying a police officer in a classroom. Maybe if, the central planners are going to say, well, maybe if the government was helping in that kid's home, making sure that he's getting a good environment, he's going to be better off. I don't think that's a good solution. And I think the libertarian solution to that is you have to change the way people think. You have to make sure that people care about each other and are going to be involved in people's lives on a private level and giving those people the support they need in order to be successful. And I think until we can do that, I don't think that free markets are going to be as efficient as they should be, and I don't think that they are going to be very embraced by the general public. Finally, some people will inevitably fall through the cracks, but those cracks will be filled in over time as technology and capital investor expands. The people who are incredibly poor today are way better off than they were 100 years ago. 100 years ago, if you were poor and you got malaria, you died. Period. Today, if you're in a poor country, you get malaria, you die. But with a $5 mosquito net, you don't get malaria, you don't die. And because of private charity, largely coming from first world nations, we're able to actually get those nets to people who need it because we have enough capital to donate. So as we increase our technology level, come up with new medications, come up with better GMOs, better food supplies. I know a lot of you aren't particularly happy with GMOs. I'm not either because of the way the patent system works. But I think there's a lot of potential there for increasing food yields, for decreasing hunger, and for increasing the quality of life for everyone, including the poor. So, question and answer session. Thank you all very, very much for listening and paying attention. And I will take raise of hand questions at this time.
How do you get people that base their entire ethical system on ethical egoism to see that private charity is in their interest when there's really no way to say that?
I would say exactly that. I would say, would you, as an egoist, prefer to live in a society with people sleeping on park benches, or would you like to give to private charity to give those people a helping hand up, not a hand out? There are a lot of ways you can do this. You can employ those people. If they're unemployable, if they're severely disabled, then maybe just to get rid of, to use maybe a politically incorrect phrase, to get rid of an eyesore, that might be in your interest to give to those people to create a home for them, a shelter for them, so that you don't have to deal with it.
Political egoism is not based on that. Political egoism is mostly based on the concept of not caring of anybody but yourself. Eyesore is usually not the concern of people like that. The more you are virtually isolated, the more you're able to ignore things. That's the best word I can possibly think. The more you're immune to things like you mentioned, the more you wouldn't possibly think of donating.
Okay, some possible contentions to that. If you notice a person who has a lot of capital, who is self-interested in that sort of way to where they're ignoring social problems, you can boycott their companies, you can refuse to trade with them, you can refuse to talk to them.
Yeah, but why would you do that if they're providing you with a good product?
That's a trade-off.
In my personal experience, through work that I do, I've noticed that first of all, I'm an egoist, and I can say that it's more than about capital or whatever. Things make me happy that might not give me money.
Right.
I like, women or hiking or, the beach or something like that. And, if that was covered in trash or polluted or something, I would obviously not be, I would not gain pleasure from that. But in terms of